If you're just getting started prepping, learning the right skills is one of the most important steps you can take. Don't get me wrong, gear is useful, but gear runs out. Gear can break. Gear is a finite resource. It's skills that endure. When I first started prepping, I made a mistake that a lot of other people make. I focused on things I was already proficient at. For example, I had a lot of experience with firearms. I'd spent years outdoors, so I knew how to build and maintain fires. I knew camping. I knew that sort of stuff. So naturally, I leaned into those strengths. But over time, I realized something. Prepping isn't just about what you know, it's about what your situation requires. Because situations change. And when they do, gaps in your skills can become very real, very fast. In my case, my prep group changed. People that I had relied on for certain skills, things such as gardening, food preservation, things like that, suddenly they were no longer there. And just like that, I had weaknesses in my plans. That's when I realized I can't rely on others to fill all those gaps. Don't get me wrong, I 100% believe you need folks you can count on in difficult situations. Being the quote unquote lone wolf in a disaster scenario works great in the movies, but not in real life. That being said, you still need a baseline of essential skills that you can do yourself. So when I step back and I ask the simple question, what skills do I need to be able to handle on my own? And I came up with 7. Number 1, first aid. If there's one skill that can make an immediate difference, it's first aid. And this isn't just about prepping. This is something that can save a life, any situation, any day. And here's the key. Reading about first aid is not enough. Watching videos on it is not enough. You need hands-on training. Because when something serious happens, you don't necessarily have time to think. You have to react. And that reaction comes from your training. Also, don't fall into the trap of thinking a basic first aid kit is enough. Those boo-boo kits are fine for minor issues, but real emergencies require real preparation. The Red Cross, the American Heart Association, and groups like that all offer first aid and life-saving classes. So do a lot of local VOTECs, and those are some great places to start. Number 2, sanitation. This is one people don't think about until it becomes a problem. Right now, everything is easy. The trash goes out, the water runs, toilets flush. But if the grid goes down, all of that stops. And sanitation becomes a very serious issue very quickly. Some of the things you need to think about are being able to maintain personal hygiene when you have no running water. What are you going to do with human waste when the toilets don't flush anymore? And all that trash, it's going to build up when the trash man doesn't come to pick it up. This is something you've got to figure out because poor sanitation leads to disease. Disease leads to illness. Illness can lead to death. I'll go into more detail on this in future videos, but for now, suffice it to say, this is a topic you should be studying. Number 3, off-grid cooking. Most people can cook, but very few people can cook without power. There's a big difference between using a microwave or a stovetop and cooking over an open flame, or with a solar oven, or with a Dutch oven and charcoal heat. That's where experience matters, because mistakes, like underestimating cooking time or the amount of fuel you'll need, can become real problems when you don't have a backup option. And it's not just about cooking the food. It's about doing it efficiently. How much fuel are you going to need? How long will it take? Can you do it consistently, day after day? Because in a real situation, you're not just cooking once. You're doing it over and over again with limited resources. And if you get it wrong, you waste fuel, you waste food, you risk contamination, and you will make things harder on yourself very, very quickly. This is something you need to study and practice, and I encourage you to do so. Number 4, firearms training. Owning a firearm is not the same as knowing how to use it effectively. Standing still at a range, shooting a paper target is one thing. real life situations are very different. Movement, stress, positioning, decision making, these are all skills that take time and practice. And it's not just about hitting the target, it's about how you respond under pressure. Can you think clearly? Can you move? Can you make decisions quickly, without hesitation? Will stress and fear affect your accuracy, your timing? Because in a real situation, you may not get perfect conditions. You don't get time to think things through, and you may not get a second chance to get it right. Like many skills, if you don't use this, you will lose it. Marksmanship is a skill that can go rusty. The key is training consistently, training regularly, keeping your skills sharp over time. Number 5, water collection and purification. Having clean drinking water is the third most important aspect of being prepared and ready in the event of a disaster. Your need for oxygen is number 1, and keeping your core body temperature at 98.6 degrees is number 2. But if the grid goes down, your faucet stops working. So the question becomes, do you know where to find water? And just as important, do you know how to make it safe? This means having a plan on where to obtain water, knowing multiple purification methods, and practicing those methods ahead of time. Because figuring it out later is too late. Click on the video here for more information on long-term water plans. Number 6, gardening and animal husbandry. Food doesn't magically appear, and long-term survival requires more than stored supplies. Supplies alone are not enough. Eventually, they run out. Learning how to grow food and learning how to raise small animals is a skill that takes time to develop. This isn't something you learn overnight. Even basic gardening requires knowledge, practice, and patience. So starting early is the key. But there's another side to this that some people don't think about. Not everyone has land. Not everyone has space. You might be in a small backyard or even live in a little apartment, but that doesn't mean you can't start. Container gardening, herbs, small vegetables, small-scale setups. That is still a way to learn and build experience. And just as important, you need to understand your local laws and ordinances. What can you grow where you live? What can you raise? What's allowed and what isn't? Because the last thing you want to do is invest time and effort into something that you're not permitted to do and draws problems. Number 7, fire building. Fire is one of the most basic survival skills, but doing it consistently in different conditions, that's a different story. It's not just about starting a fire, it's about maintaining it, managing your fuel, and adapting to the weather. If starting a fire on a clear day with dry wood, matches, and a lighter, and perfect conditions, that's easy. Try doing it in the rain, or in the wind, or when everything around you is damp. That's when it becomes a real skill. You also have to think about what the fire you're building is actually for. Is it for warmth? Is it for cooking? Just boiling some water? Each one of those requires a little different approach and a different level of control. And if you don't manage it properly, you burn through your fuel too fast, or you lose the fire completely. This is one of those skills that looks simple on the surface, but it takes practice to get it right. Bonus: physical fitness. This isn't always listed as a skill, but for me, it matters all the same. Because everything we just talked about requires effort, real effort. It requires human energy. And if you're not physically prepared, everything becomes harder. Start getting yourself into shape now. You don't have to do it all at once. Start slow, set some goals, stay consistent. The biggest mistake you can make in prepping is assuming that you'll have time to figure things out later. Because if and when something major actually happens, you won't. Skills take time, they take repetition, and they take effort. But once you have them, they stay with you indefinitely. And those skills might be the difference between struggling and being ready. If there are other skills that you consider essential that aren't listed here, tell us about them in the comments down below. For more information on this and a lot of other prepper topics, be sure to check out the website that's linked below. Stay safe out there. And if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. That really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.